Coming to you from the Globesville studios in New York City, welcome to the Biz Show. I'm Mylan Studart.
And I'm Anaiti Solar.
And the Biz Show is bringing you all the news your pockets want to know. Today's episode is about cybersecurity, or how to keep information safe from internet thieves. The internet has been called the Wild West, and in many cases it is. There's so much we don't know and areas that have not yet been regulated that allows for cyber criminals easy pickings of unaware and unprotected people.
That's right. So we want to help you avoid the traps. We're going to talk about how to make an online purchase securely, tips on Wi-Fi safety, how to protect yourself from the Equifax data breach, and how to avoid email scams, the most common way of getting a virus.
So first, making an online purchase while keeping your personal info safe. Our first tip is the simplest and my favorite. Just make sure the padlock icon shows next to the address bar. If you click on that icon, it'll tell you if the website is safe and if it's encrypted. If the padlock sign isn't there, it's not safe to shop on that website. Also, make sure the S shows an HTTPS in the first part of the web address. That also indicates a layer of safety.
Well, that's basic, Mylan. Now the tip I have to give is to update your computer security software whenever it issues a new security patch. You know those annoying pop-ups that tell you to update your computer and your antivirus softwares? Turns out that's a huge deal. Cyber criminals exploited computers of companies around the world that didn't update to the latest security upgrade, and they held their files for millions of dollars in ransom. This worm or virus was called WannaCry, and it was a total disaster because all would be lost if you didn't have the money to pay. It was all over the news this summer. So definitely don't let that happen to you, and always update your computer and antivirus software whenever they send you a new update.
I remember how some hospitals in Europe couldn't even operate because of WannaCry. It was really bad. But another tip we have to give you is keeping your passwords hard and different. This year we found out from specialists that using an uppercase letter, a number, and a special character in your password doesn't actually make it harder for criminals to hack it. What's better than that is a very long password, like a short phrase. It turns out that the more characters a password has, the harder it is to crack. And adding numbers and special characters to it makes it even harder. According to lifehacker.com, the phrase, "this is fun," written together, would take 2,537 years to crack. And not only is it safe, it's easy to remember. Another thing I do is I keep different passwords for different bank accounts and credit cards. That way, if one of my accounts gets hacked, all isn't lost.
That's awesome. I'm going to use cow is pink as my new password. Now, how to use Wi-Fi safely. First of all, public Wi-Fi is anything but safe. It is so easy for hackers to place fake websites that look like real ones while you're browsing. It's called an evil twin hotspot. That's a Wi-Fi access point set up by a hacker meant to mimic a legitimate hotspot provided by a business like a coffee shop that provides free Wi-Fi access to patrons. To avoid that, turn off the feature that lets you automatically connect to any Wi-Fi spot and confirm the Wi-Fi name with the store. Your phone or laptop could be guided to the fake network.
That is so scary. And that's why I only use my unlimited 4G on my phone and use it as a hotspot for my laptop with a password. That's why I know my information is safe, and I'm also avoiding a battery drain from the Wi-Fi. Another tip for Wi-Fi safety is to disable sharing. In the privacy of your own home, in your own Wi-Fi network, you may share your music library, printers, or files, and even allow other computers, like family members' computers, to log into your Wi-Fi. But if your devices are open for sharing in public Wi-Fi, you're taking a big risk.
So be sure to secure your own Wi-Fi spot at home. Change your router's name and password to something secure, like House is Blue. Also enable encryption on it and turn off that WPS or Wi-Fi protected setup, because that's the easy way to pair electronics to your network. Also, making your Wi-Fi invisible by disabling SSID broadcasting will make it super hard for people who aren't your friends and family to find and access your network. Your internet or cable company can help you with that, or you can Google your router's model online.
All great tips. Now stay tuned to the Biz Show because when we return, we'll talk about how you can protect yourself from the Equifax data breach and how to avoid getting a virus from email scams. Stay with the Biz Show. Welcome back to the Biz Show, Cybersecurity Edition. We discussed already how to shop online safely and avoid security traps using Wi-Fi. Now, let's talk about a couple more important cybersecurity tips. Protecting yourself from this year's Equifax data breach and avoiding email scams.
During recent years, we've all seen several companies that suffered from huge data breaches like Target in 2013 and Yahoo just last year. However, the biggest breach of all happened this year when Equifax, one of the three main credit reporting agencies, was hacked. Personal information belonging to more than 145 million Americans was left exposed. That means your social security numbers, home addresses, birth dates, credit card numbers, and driver's license numbers are all vulnerable to identity theft. This makes it that much easier for a thief to damage so many different aspects of your life, most significantly that of your credit score. So here are a few tips to protect yourself.
Number 1, check your credit report. You may be a victim without even knowing it. Remember, we at the Biz Show had a whole episode dedicated to credit scores and reports. You can get a free credit report every year from Experian and TransUnion. Look out for any suspicious activity, including accounts you didn't open or late payments on debt you don't recognize. If you see something unfamiliar, contact your company's fraud department immediately.
Number 2, set fraud alerts. Make sure all of your accounts and cards have fraud protection. If they don't, contact your companies to set this up. They'll send you a text or call you whenever an irregular or expensive transaction has been made. Also, contact the 3 major credit bureaus to set a fraud alert. Credit companies will be required to verify your identity before opening a new account.
Third, freeze your credit, even that of your children. You can do that by going to each of the 3 credit bureaus' websites, Equifax.com, Experian.com, and TransUnion.com, and request a credit freeze. That way, if anyone tries to apply for a credit line under your social security number, he or she won't be able to because of the freeze. Bear in mind that only Equifax does that for free because of the recent data breach, but TransUnion and Experian will charge a fee. But it's a small fee compared to what you'll be paying to take back your financial life if you become a victim of fraud. You can unfreeze your credit whenever you need to.
Lastly, file your taxes early. Those who have been a victim of tax fraud find out when they try to file their taxes. The earlier you file, the less likely you are to be a victim. If you've been a victim of identity theft, there are many resources available for recovering from it. It will take some time, but you'll eventually recover.
And now, how to protect yourself from email scams, usually called phishing scams. Don't be tricked into clicking a link to a fake web page. Many emails we receive that sometimes may not fall into the junk folder seem legitimate. It can have the logo of your bank, your utility company, a familiar brand or website, even dating sites. The aim of cybercriminals is to persuade you to enter personal information. It's estimated that an average 1.4 million of these websites are created every month. The way to fight that is to hover your mouse over the sender's name. It might say it's from Bank of America, but actually the sender's email is something like hyperlink at usatomorrow.edu. It's weird. They have the craziest links. And that is a clear sign that a phishing scam is going on. Typically, the email will be something urgent, like saying someone took over your account and they need you to verify personal information. The moment you click on that link and input information, you're giving it all away to cyber criminals, and you may even get some malware. Now, another way to protect yourself is to call your bank to see if they really did send you that email and verify if something is really wrong.
I get those emails all the time and mark them as phishing scams. Bots find your email through your social media profiles and your handles throughout the internet. Talking about social media, watch out there too, because sometimes these fake links will come in a message or a post and they may seem legitimate because they come from a friend. definitely warn your friend so that he or she can change their password right away.
And pop-ups. Be careful about clicking on pop-ups. Those may be scams too. So leave the web page immediately and get a pop-up blocker. Now, stay tuned to the Biz Show because when we return, Manidi is bringing you some crucial cybersecurity tips from one of America's former most wanted cyber criminals. You don't want to miss that. Stay with the Biz Show.
Welcome back to the Biz Show. This week we're talking about cybersecurity, specifically how to protect yourself from crime and identity thieves. Now here's the story of Brett Johnson, also referred to as the original internet godfather. Mr. Johnson has some important tips to share about cyber protection. So some quick background. Brett Johnson was responsible for developing many areas of online fraud. He founded sites like counterfeitlibrary.com, shadowcrew.com, and created one of the first online dark markets where stolen credit card and identity theft information can be sold. The systems and structures he designed are still in operation today. So, of course, he was captured in 2005. He worked as an informant and consultant for the government, but continued to commit cybercrime, sometimes even from the very same government offices he was working from. So after a year, I guess he got bored and he went on a cross-country crime spree. He got arrested, escaped, then got arrested again, and finally served his time. In 2014, he founded anglerfish.com, where he aims to help people, businesses, and the government protect themselves from the very crimes he pretty much invented. So here are some important tips he has to offer. Number 1, make sure that no one but you has administrative privileges. Others should have separate login information, so if they click on the wrong thing, your entire system isn't compromised. Now number 2, back up all of your information on a regular basis. That way, if you do get hacked, you still have everything saved. Number 3, update the software on your computer and smartphone as soon as possible, just like Mylan said. Mylan also mentioned the importance of passwords. So the last tip, but certainly not least, is to avoid using the same generic password for everything. Brett and the FBI recommend using a password manager program, which generates difficult codes but still allows for ease of access. Some of the top-rated ones include LastPass and Dashlane. But of course, always do what works best for you. Now be mindful of your passwords. Remember to put fraud alerts on everything. Freeze your credit and thoroughly check your credit report. Think before you click. Now take advantage of these tips for not just your own safety, but the safety of your fellow web surfers too. Well, that's it for the Web Show, the Biz Show. Remember, if you like what you see, and especially what you hear, share us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, adding hashtags Globesville and the Biz Show. Here's to you millennials becoming business savvy in 2017. I'm Manidi Solar, and we'll see you next week.